I'm here with Dylan Baker, who is one of the organizers of the event. Can you tell me a little bit about what it takes to put the Chili Challenge together?
Well, it starts off with everybody who's helped me through this. Equinox has done a great job with helping me out and setting it up beautifully. It takes a lot of effort from the people who have done this before. They've helped a lot because this is the first year I've run it. And just the help from everybody, the generosity of people has been great.
Can you tell me a little bit about how you got involved with the project?
Well, I first got this job beginning in November or so, and they kind of threw me right into it. I took the notes that they had from last year, and they just said you can run with it and kind of make it your own, and it's turned out pretty well so far, I think.
How many people do you expect to attend tonight?
We usually expect around 200 to 250. It's kind of a guideline for it, and usually we get that many, if not 300 or so.
Hi, I'm here with Linda Spence, who's the Manchester Town Clerk, and she's going to give us a little bit of the history of this wonderful Chili Challenge fundraiser event.
Well, I remember when Tom Lebecki was the rec director of Manchester, and he started this annual celebration, actually. And we actually went to the very first Chili Challenge, which was held at Grabbers. There were only about 10 entrants, but it was wonderful, and we've had it every year since. And I am wearing an apron from the third annual Chili Challenge, which is probably an heirloom at this point. It's from 1995, so this is our 20th year. It's so much fun. Usually it's like kind of a spring tonic for people because everybody's got cabin fever, but we haven't had any snow this year, so it doesn't matter. It's just a good time to get together and have a little fun.
What kind of chili you're serving tonight?
We've got a sweet and spicy chili, and then the other one is a local chili. It is Someday Farm smoked chicken, Yoder beans, and Mighty Food Farms onions and garlic, and Grafton cheddar cheese. So it's all Vermont, locally sourced.
We are serving Ma Connolly's famous family recipe chili, and we're also serving a Three Amigo chili. That's with, Tommy's going to tell you what's in that one.
That's hot sausage, ground lamb, ground beef, poblano chili peppers, jalapenos, green chilies, and a variety of beans.
We have a venison and apple chili. It's made with local venison, local Italian venison sausage, local ground pork, and some ground beef, apples, and lots of other yummies. This is what I'm calling I Can't Believe It's Not Meat chili. And that has everything from 2 kinds of beans, corn, carrots, mushrooms, onions. That is delectable. And this over here is Vermont mac and cheese made with Grafton cheddar.
It's a local brand chili. It's all made from Manchester, all the veggies, all the meat, everything. It's basically just ground beef and jalapenos and peppers. It's very simple but very delicious.
We're doing our famous mac and cheese. We won 3 years in a row. We have our lobster mac, and we also have a chili that Rick has made for us today.
Actually a tricolor Tex-Mex chili. It's chili con carne, and we won the Pontley Chili Cook-Off last year with this.
This is Chili Con Goldberger. We're Earth Sky Time Community Farm. This is all local vegetables, and this is our bread that we make, wood-fired semolina bread, and Cabot cheese, and this is homemade sriracha, which is hot sauce with honey and apple cider vinegar that we also make.
In the corner over here, we're serving a little flamingo drink, which is coconut granate, a little mango puree, and finished off on the rim is a little atomic fireball, kind of like a margarita salt. We're going totally Caribbean tonight. We're doing a little Jamaican jerk chicken chili. We have a vegan chili with grilled tempeh, black beans, and we have our chili mac, which is a little spicy nacho cheese, chili, some seared tenderloin.
A smokehouse chili. We have smoked brisket and lots of smoked veggies in there with it. So, very smoky flavor.
There's venison and Italian sausage and Veni burger, Veni steaks, and a couple of secret ingredients. And a lot of love.
Actually, the best one is made with goat, and I cook that with some tomatillo, black bean, and hominy. And the goat was rubbed with salt, pepper, cumin, orange juice. And then I put a salsa on the side with mango, papaya, fresh coconut, lime juice, pomegranate, orange juice, coriander, green onions, jalapeno, ginger. That's it.
I'm up in Danby with Derek Cornell of Big Wind and Solar, and we are here at a house that is off the grid. It's got, well, I'll let Derek tell us.
Okay, well, we've got a 80-foot, 1,000-watt wind turbine up there, and we have 1,700 watts of solar panels, as you can see behind me here. These all feed in and are producing power to the batteries, which we are storing to be used to be converted into regular AC power for the house and their needs. The solar seems to take care of most of the needs in the summer, and the wind supplements in the winter. Both together is even better. So, as the wind picks up, the tail section will actually bend away from the main generator unit. This one actually lifts up and away from it. Sometimes you think it would be falling off the way it looks, but it's just reducing the power, the wind it's interfacing to reduce the power.
Why?
You don't want overproduction because it doesn't do any good. You know, once it gets up there above 30, you want to start turning out of the wind before you do damage to it or whatever. So it will survive up to 100 mile an hour wind, they say.
How much power does the wind put out at optimum?
The optimum power is 1,000 watts to about 25 miles an hour. It takes quite a bit on a small wind turbine like this to produce some reasonable power.
And the solar?
The solar, less clouds, no snow, that all helps, you know. But we put out about 1,700 watts per hour off this array here. So in the winter we're putting out a little over 3,500 watts a day.
Which is enough for an average family of four to use in a day?
Off-grid you do have to learn to use your power wisely because of, you know, you're limited by what you can draw off it, so you have to make sure all your appliances and everything else are sized accordingly to use the least amount of power. You can always supplement with more panels, bigger turbines or whatever, but then you're sort of, you know, losing the whole idea of being off-grid, saving money, using less power, even though you're making your own.
And to invest in something like this, can you give us a rough idea of what it would cost?
Off-grid tends to be a little more expensive because of batteries and all the controls we have to install. Grid-tied, we're looking at usually around $5 to $6 a watt installed. Wind, we're up to, grid-tied would be up around $8 a watt installed. or higher depending on the site and such. Off-grid, we tend to be about, this was about 850 a watt installed here. So that is on the, but the average is a little higher than that.
And the lifespan, I mean, will it pay itself off in some day down the road?
In this particular location, it's all they had available to them without spending a lot of money bringing power down in. And at that point, they decided it was a better choice for them, the environment and everything else, to go this way instead of going to CV or whatever. It'll pay them back within probably 10 years. The average is about a 10 to 12, 13-year payback in any of these systems. Some of the other hot water's a little less and such, but most of the systems are in that paybacks here.
And what kind of maintenance is involved here?
Every couple of years, you just check, you check the turbine once a year with binoculars and the wiring and such like that. Every 5 years, you should drop it down and take a look at it, paint it, grease it, or whatever it needs. They don't, and check the wiring in it, and that's about it. The solar panels, you clean them and check wiring. The batteries are the biggest thing on off-grid. They do have to be maintained, checked, every week or two for water level and charging and all that, but it's not a big deal. It's just, something you learn to live with, and it's part of it.
It's fascinating.
So, they're very happy with it. I've got 4 other customers off-grid, and it works very well.
Can we go look at the batteries?
Yes, why don't we do that?
Okay.
We're on the back side of the building here. All the controls and inversion and battery storage takes place out here, being there's not room inside. Besides, the battery shouldn't be stored in a living area. You can hear and you can see we have a fan running, which removes the vapors from the battery storage area. This up here, the white unit here, would be your inverter and charger. This over here is a solar and charger. So actually takes the power from the solar cells, out mods, converts it and charges the batteries. This over here would be the wind turbine controller and charger, which regulates that. It's a usage meter telling you how much the people are using in the house, so we can compare usage to need, draw. In case there's a problem in there, we can determine where that might help us determine this.
I would assume, I see they have a chimney, so they have a fireplace.
They have a fireplace, and they back up with gas here.
Okay.
The little they use, they have a gas refrigerator and electric. When they're here, they usually run it on electric whenever they can, because it's more efficient. And they do a little bit of heat with gas. Keep the bathroom warm when they're not here in plumbing.
Makes sense.
These are the remote controls for the inverter and the wind turbine and the generator start. From this controller here, you can set your charging rates, your amperage, you can see what's going on, make changes, shut it off, such and such. Same thing goes on with the wind turbine down here. We have production in here, what it's outputting, how much a day it's making and such. You can shut it off here and do a few other things. Most of this stuff doesn't get touched once it's set, but if need be, it's right here at your fingertips without having to go outside and get into the shed.
Thank you, Derek. It was very nice to meet you, and it's just fascinating.
Thank you, Kathy. I'm glad I get to be a help and show you what's going on in the world of green and energy efficiency. So, thank you.
I'm with Ron Wunderlich at Hand Chevrolet, and we're going to look at the Chevy Volt today. Ron, tell us all about the Chevy Volt.
Well, the Chevy Volt's been in a concept in production for quite a few years. Was finally sold in 2010 and made available to the entire country in 2012. One thing Chevrolet says about it, and as you'll see in a few minutes when we drive it, it is more car than electric. It's an electric-powered vehicle with the motive force to the wheels coming from two 111 kilowatt motors, and they provide all the motive force to the car. Although it has a 1.4 liter engine, a gasoline engine in it, the only thing that engine does is provide electricity when the battery power gets lower to move the car. So it is more, and it feels and drives more car than electric. It's a car that the feeling that you're used to having in a car without giving up anything to get the advantages of the 94 miles to gallon estimate on the electric side that you would with some of the other vehicles. And there's even a phrase coined for it, which is called accord anxiety, meaning that some vehicles have a 32, 34, 40 mile range when they run on electricity and only electricity. Then at that point they just stop, just like your electric battery powered electric Razor, where this in essence although it has a 327 mile range, in essence has an unlimited mile range. You can drive it from New York to Los Angeles like you would any other car.
Where am I going to get the electricity? Can I plug it up in my garage?
You can plug it into your household current. There is a 110, 120 volt charger that comes with it, and there's an auxiliary charger you can have installed at home for 220, 240 volt, which is very similar to what your electric range uses. It'll charge in 10 hours on 110 volts and in 4 hours on a 240 volt charger. You can set the vehicle to charge if you have an electric company that charges you different rates at different times of the day for peak demand. You can set the car to accept the charge during certain hours, so you can plug it in when you get home from work and then not have it charge until, say, 9 o'clock at night when your rates go down. You can also do that remotely with the MyVolt MyLink app on a smartphone, an Android or an Apple smartphone.
And how many miles, say again, how many miles do I get with the electricity, and then how many miles with the what you call extended range?
The electricity will power the car depending on your driving habits, the temperature, the technique and terrain that you're driving in, for up to 40 miles per charge. Then after that, the gasoline engine will kick on to power the generator to power the motors to move the car. It also uses a system called regenerative braking, which actually spins the electric motor backwards to create electricity to go back into the battery as you slow down and coming down hills.
What I'm trying to do in my head is a cost comparison between what it's going to cost me and my monthly electric bill
If we can walk over this way, we have a comparison right here on the window sticker, which is your 94 MPGE and savings over 5 years of $7,600 based on gasoline at $3.95 a gallon when the vehicle is driven for 15,000 miles. Gasoline economy is 37 miles per gallon, or 2.7 gallons per 100 miles while running on the 1.4 liter engine. So it gives you does give you the best of both worlds, and also the batteries are warranted for 8 years or 100,000 miles. So, and for a replacement if they fail to hold a charge within those time frames. Under the hood, it very typically resembles a, quote, normal car, which it is. You have the gasoline engine, and these components are for the electric drive system. The large orange cables are a higher voltage system than normal in a vehicle, and it also has a 12-volt battery like most cars have, which is located in the rear of the car.
Can we take a ride in it?
Sure. Let's get in and take a look at it. I'll show you how the instrumentation works, which is a little different. It takes a little getting used to, as does the braking. If you don't mind, let me drive first. I'll show you how everything works and looks in the car, because it does take a little getting used to. And then you can have a chance, an opportunity to try it. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
Okay, now as we get in the car, the one thing that's a little different is how you start it. There's a power button right here. You push it, the car will come alive.
So there's no key?
This particular one has no key. On the left side here is your battery charge. We have 30 miles of electric-only motive force that we can use, and 170 miles of gasoline in the tank for a total range of 200 miles. On this side, we have an efficiency meter, the little green ball, and the idea is to help keep the green ball in the middle by not over accelerating, and as you're braking, it'll also tell you that the energy is being applied back to the batteries. In the center, you have your normal speedometer in digital readout format, and on the bottom, you have your trip computers, trip odometer, engine oil life monitor, and a tutorial on how the car works. You also have electric parking brake and drive mode selector. You have 3 drive modes: a normal, a sport, and a mountain mode. And it changes how the electric motors provide motive force to the car. What it does is it replicates different types of transmissions by only using the electric motors and changing the way that they spin. And to put it in gear, we just pull it back like you do any other car, and we're off silently. The vehicle is also equipped with a pedestrian warning, since it is so quiet in battery mode, to let people know if you're in a congested area that you're coming. You also have a display in the center unit, which is your audio controls and your power flow. Right now we are using the electric force applied by the battery, which is the green indication is the long bar. And you can change the information that you're seeing on the center display. And that is, if we plug the car in current right now, on 120 volts, it would have a full charge at 12:45 p.m. and at 240, at 10:45 it'll be fully charged at 10:45 a.m. and which is currently actually only a few minutes to charge. And you have an indicator as to how you're using the energy.
Your driving style is 0? Okay, explain that. 0%?
Right now I'm driving in the most efficient means.
All right.
As if I quickly accelerate, that percentage will change, and depending on what mode is selected also. That's the percentage of how efficiently you're driving the vehicle. And then you have your energy use.
There's a lot to look at.
So we used 0 gallons
so far
since we've left. Now we have 20 miles left on the battery, and once we depleted that 20 miles, this would change over to the gas pump would turn green, and it would show you how many miles to the gallon that you're getting. As you can tell, it's silent. It's at idle, so it's silent because no power is going to the motors. You ready?
Yeah.
Step on the brake and put it in drive, and you're all set.
First first impressions, very smooth. It's quiet. And as Ron demonstrated, it does accelerate very quickly. It feels light. I don't know how else to explain that. There's so much to look at. As a newcomer to this, it's a little overwhelming.
Try the braking before we get up to the stop sign.
Oh, that is different. It's very firm. Very firm.
Where it says regain power recovery is because you're stepping on the brake and the electric motors are actually turning into generators, putting power back into the battery.
So we've already gone through, it started with, the first one was grayed out. So we've gone through 3 cells.
Right now we're down to 15 miles of range on the battery.
Okay. So all the electrical stuff that you'd use, like the radio and the lights, they all draw off the battery too, I would assume.
The normal vehicle electrical components, the exterior lighting, interior lighting, the audio system, run off of the conventional 12-volt car battery. So you're not using your lithium-ion power source to provide power to the peripherals.
I read recently, in doing research for this article, that the Motor Trend magazine rated this car very highly in safety. The national, what are those initials? National Safety...
National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Right, they rated it very highly for safety.
It is one of the highest rated vehicles on the market. Also, the International Institute for Highway Safety has it on their top list of safest cars. It was also the Motor Trend Car of the Year for 2011.
Ron, what's the suggested retail on this car?
This car lists for $45,369, but you also get a $7,400 tax credit to most individuals off of your income tax.
There we go. Now we have 170.
Now we're on engine and battery power. The engine is charging the batteries and providing the power to the electric motors, and we have 176 miles of gasoline power remaining in the vehicle before we need to stop and fill up. The engine generator will never provide enough power to both power the wheels and give a full charge to the battery, so you will have to plug it in at some point.
Here than there were earlier. Do you want it back in that special spot?
Well, you just park it right in front of the building would be good.
It's very smooth. The pickup is great, and there's no hesitation.
Would you agree it's more car than electric?
Yes. Well, I've never driven an electric car, so I really can't compare it. But what I would think would be, it would be like, yeah.
A lot of people get the impression that driving an electric car is going to be like driving a golf cart, and there was nowhere near that, was it?
No. A golf cart. No, it was nowhere near like that.
Now, you had made a comment, Kathy, where we were driving about the just being distracted by the display.
Mm-hmm.
This is also your audio system. So if you find it distracting, you can always set it to the normal radio functions that any car would have. And the color display is across the board in the industry now. With all your premium radios, you have a color display. It's also the touchscreen. And while you're parked, you can play DVDs. So if you're waiting for someone to come out of a doctor's appointment or something, you can play DVDs on it. It will be disconnected when you put it in drive.
Okay.
And it's also your climate functions are on here, your touchscreen, with your heated seats, your fan speed, temperature, and it has an echo mode for the air conditioning, which will run the compressor less to keep So you
Eco
use
is economy?
economy.
Okay.
So it'll use less energy to keep it cool in the summer. Hopefully I was able to answer your questions for you.
Yeah, it's very exciting. This is the trend of the future, and it's exciting to see these things.
It was a long time coming, but they did a very nice job on it, and has very nice features, performs very well, and also has a great warranty.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
It's great to meet you.